Yes, folks, you're welcome back. Before I go to Richie, got an email in here. Couldn't make it to Tala on Tuesday, but felt I was at the game while listening to the brilliant commentary from John and Joe. Love your show and listen every Saturday. Well done, Dundalk FC. Just as was done on Tuesday night in Tala. Roll on the Aviva, and that comes from Marion Carlin. Well, we appreciate, as I always say, we're all volunteers. We don't get paid for this, Marion. We just do it to help the people that can't get to Oriel Park, whether in being in hospital, maybe just laid up in the house or far away. And I'm sure if you listen in some of the games, I have a litany of about 100 and odd people that listen across the world at us. And it's no wonderful that we can give such a service. But we appreciate your kind comments. Thanks very much for them. Now, I'm going to change codes again because who have I on? Only Richie Ford. And it's a big, big weekend for Richie, isn't it, Richie?
Oh, yeah, John. Yeah, huge.
It's the Gaels versus the Blues, in case anyone doesn't know, in the final of the Joe Ward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Said they don't come around too often these days for Gaels people.
65 years since the Gaels won it, Richie, and 25 since they were in the final. It certainly doesn't come down too often.
No, that's the only final, John, that we've been in since 1952. So this is only our second time in a senior final in 65 years. So, as I said, it doesn't come around too often. Very, very special weekend. But it's been a great season, John. It started very poorly. We were sitting near enough bottom of the senior league, and we were on the end of a very, very bad beating against the Clans. And early on in the league, and a lot of us said, "Well, what exactly is happening here?" I remember I was at that game with Fergal Reid, and we just left, and I was very downhearted. But the boys really went to work. The management team and the players, and they've certainly turned it around. And at the moment, it's please God, it's going to be the makings of a very
special. Yeah. The Blues, they have a great record, 20 titles, Richie. You know, they're the backbone, they're a battle-hardened outfit, aren't they? The tradition of them.
They have a great tradition, and you know, in the last 10 years, John, I've been involved in teams that have gone up against them. I've actually been involved in 7 championship matches against the Blues over the last 11 seasons from 2006 to 2014. 3 of those matches, John, ended in replays, and one of them was just a straightforward match. And they're always a very, very difficult team to beat because, as you said, they have a tradition.
Yeah.
Like you go back, they won in 2000, 2001, they won in 2008, they won again in 2013, they've been beaten in finals. Pats beat them in 2011. So they're thereabouts every year, and I think they're the only team really, John, that can turn it on in the championship, not having turned it on in the league in 2000.
Yeah, and they didn't turn it on in the league because they had a bad time early on in it, hadn't they?
That's right, yeah, and I mean, I think it was back in 2008 as well. I think they were sitting bottom of the league, and
right.
They came through and they won the championship in serious style that year, that beat everybody very convincingly. And again, like this year, they had to go through the playoff route to stay up in the league.
Yeah.
Second from bottom in the table. But they look, as you said, they have this tradition. They have the ability to turn it on in the championship. They have the belief, and they're able to convert chances of winning matches into wins in championship football. And they just seem to gather momentum.
Yeah.
And then push on through.
You see a lot of these players, Richie. Where do you think the game will be won and lost?
I think, well, you're looking at 2, I suppose, contrasting teams in that the Gaels' bedrock is very, very strong defence.
They have a very defensive approach to their game, haven't they?
I think that's overly emphasised.
Is it?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's overly emphasised. You know, you hear people saying that they're the most defensive team in the county.
Yeah.
Very good defence and a very well organised defence. But the Gaels break very, very quickly, and they have a lot of very good forward players. I think, as I said, the defensive element is overplayed. I think, certainly very, very strong defence, and the Gaels will push forward and break at pace, whereas the Blues tend to be slightly more orthodox. But they too, John, are predicated on a strong defence in that they're dropping one of the most talented forwards in the county over the last 10 years, Colin Judge, and he has been dropping back deep for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Of his defence, and then pushing out his speed and maybe orchestrating the attacks and kicking fairly quick kick passes inside.
Yeah, the Blues have a mix of youth and experience, but I suppose they're sort of rebuilding again, aren't they?
Yeah, they won a couple of minor championships on the spin, and I think then the Martins beat them in a minor championship final. Now, the Gaels haven't had, I suppose, that degree of success at underage level. But that Gaels team, John, is also a very, very good mix of youth and experience, because the Gaels have a terrific underage structure.
Yeah, they won the Junior League too, didn't they?
They did, yeah, and that's a help.
Yeah.
And but they have an awful lot of very, very talented people who give a huge amount of their time at underage. Like my own lad at 7 years of age is beneficiary of a great season in the Gaels this year. And you have people like David McDonald down at that age level. Again, Damien is there at that age level. The likes of Robbie McCrae, Andy McCrae, Niall Lambert himself, Brian McDonald, Paddy Herty. And I mean, I'm not Paul Morgan. These are just off the top of my head. There's an awful lot of people doing an awful lot of work at underage in the Gaels, John, and you can see the fruits of it there.
It's starting to come right now, yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at the two young Murrays. Kieran Murray, their father as well, is given a lot of underage. So you're looking at the two young Murrays coming through, and these young players now, the likes of Chris Sweeney, are coming through, and they're turning into adult footballers now, John.
Yeah, they're the backbone now of the team, aren't they? That's what your future depends on.
Absolutely, but they've added hugely. I mean, I went to see the Gaels playing Mattock a couple of days before I got the summer holidays in Mattock.
Right.
Mattock at that stage were going well in the league, and I left. The Gaels won that night by a point, but I left hugely impressed with the contribution of the younger players, and I just said, we're going in the right direction here.
Yeah.
This would come as quickly as it has come, but I just said to myself, we are going in the right direction. We have a lot of very good young footballers, and they're turning into adult footballers now. Yeah,
the Gaels will take a lot of confidence too from beating the champions, the O'Mahonys, won't they? You know, you always say, like, you know, after a replay, it's whoever learned the most in the first game, from the first game, will survive. But they did survive, and here they are in the final. Yeah,
I think the Gaels have won 3 matches in the championship this year, John. Every one of them by a point.
Yeah.
And the Gaels, you talked about the Blues being battle-hardened, and they're very experienced, the Blues, and a lot of battle-hardened footballers who have won championship medals on that team. You're looking at the likes of Conor Brannigan, Andy McDonald, Jimmy Murray. I think Jimmy's playing off the bench at this stage. But a lot of battle-hardened players.
Yeah.
The Gaels themselves this year have won a lot of battles.
Right.
First battle, I think, was with themselves, with the poor start early on. Got that right. Won 6 games in a row in the league and managed to qualify for the semi-final. That was a terrific achievement given where we were maybe after 5 matches.
Yeah.
But they carried that form into the championship, John. I was at the Cooley game, and it was a difficult game, real tight game, a nervy game as well, and we came through. And I wasn't able to get to the Martins game because the Gaels were playing the same day as Monaghan were playing down below in Carroll, so I couldn't be in 2 places at one time. But I was at the O'Mahony's game, John, and I was very, very impressed. Because I felt that really in the replay that for a long time we controlled the game, and the game was played at our pace and at our tempo, whereas the year before it was the exact opposite, in that the O'Mahony's controlled the game.
Yeah.
I felt it was a great turnaround. Now you have to take into consideration too how tired the O'Mahony's would be after 4 tough seasons, but I really felt that we controlled it. The one thing that I suppose unnerved me was the fact that leading by 4 points with 8 minutes to go, and the O'Mahony's had a shot to go 12-11 ahead in injury time. And you know, that happened again against the Martins as well, where we had a big lead going down the stretch, and we eventually ended up holding on. So I would imagine that the management team would have addressed that in terms of maybe a variation of kickouts, go-to kickouts, just break the game up, break the momentum up, and again get the game played back on our own terms.
Yeah, can you go into a game with too much tactics at times, and it takes the ability away from your team? At this stage now, going into a final, I'm sure Malachy O'Rourke's telling the Gaels, look, go out and do what Scott is at this stage, isn't it? He's not going to change anything different, is he?
No, John. I mean, look, again, I was involved, I think, in 5 senior finals. 4, one of those was a replay. And ultimately, when you're getting to this point in the season, you have to trust in what's got you that far.
Yeah, your own players, yeah,
your own players, your own game plan, routine. I can remember the biggest lesson that I ever learned was that in the senior final, Pat's first senior final against the Blues, we concentrated far too much on the opposition. I certainly concentrated far too much on the opposition, did a huge amount of video work on the Blues, huge amount of research on the Blues, and I suppose nearly our game plan was nearly based on what we felt the Blues were going to do.
Yeah.
On that particular day, John, the Blues put out a totally different team.
Oh.
And I can remember I was wired up to Fergal, and we were 6th and 7th. We had an injured man on the field as well. We were 6th and 7th all over the place for about the first 25 minutes. Took Paddy off because he was injured, brought Carl in, and we kind of steadied the ship and went in at half-time, only 2 points down, having played none. We performed much better in the second half, but we didn't perform for the full 60 minutes that day, John.
Yeah.
And we were blessed the fact that Paddy produced one of his great performances. The final score was 10-1-7, and of the 10 points that Pat got, Paddy got 7.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason we got to a replay. And from there on, I learned the lesson: you prepare yourself. You trust in yourself. You trust in your game plan. As you said, you don't overload them with too many tactics. You have a look at the opposition right enough. You look at their
you respect them,
Absolutely. You look at their strengths, you look at your weaknesses. But ultimately, a senior final is all about getting yourself ready, and it's all about performing yourself, both as individuals and as a group. And you create a set of circumstances when you're the management team that you would hope that it would allow the players to fulfill the full potential on the field. That's essentially what the whole build-up to a senior final is about for players and management.
Yeah, I was looking at the local papers here, and the big players the Gaels would look at, it said, was Derek Crilly, James Stewart, Jerry McSorley, where the Blues will look at Andy McDonald, the Cars and Kieran Downey. So there must be good matchups there, Richie, would there?
There would be good matchups there, John. Don't forget the likes of Colin Judge either.
Yeah.
And I would look at it, not putting too much pressure on them, but I really think that the two Murrays have come to the fore. I think I've seen about 10 Gaels games this year between League and Championship, and I think these young Murrays are really beginning to develop into men. Physically, they're strong and they can play. But ultimately, John, you can do a lot of matchups.
Yeah.
And you'll put men on men. You don't compromise your own system of play to suit the opposition. And that's the lesson I learned in 2011.
Right.
But what you are going to need on a day like this, on a day like tomorrow, also as leaders, men who can think on their feet.
Yeah.
Men who are able to think on their feet and adjust to what the game demands. Because really, if you're going to win a senior final, your players have to do what the game demands.
Yeah.
You're going to need to look at your experienced players, the likes of Derek, and the Blues will be looking at the likes of Colin Judge. They'll be looking maybe at bringing in the likes of Hugh McGinn and Jimmy Murray at certain stages. When things are not going well,
you
have to grab a hold of the ball and you have to change things. You have to dictate and you have to think on your feet, John. Because
and it's only experienced players can really do that, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't look to your younger players to do that. It's very, very unfair on them because they haven't got the experience of this. The Blues have the advantage of senior championship experience, but the Gaels have plenty of championship experience in terms of winning intermediate championships in the past. But you will look at some stage tomorrow when the game is taken out of the hands of the management team, when maybe you've played all your cards, when things are not going so well, when your own players on the field of play have to adapt and improvise and overcome.
Right.
And think on their feet, John. Get a hold of the ball, change the trend of the play, hit a ball into a weak spot in the Blues and try and capitalise. That's what you have to do. Yeah.
And during the championship games there, Richie, I was looking, the Gaels scored 261, which is 67 points. The Blues 646, which is 64 points. But a lot of goals there, 6 for the Blues. And goals win games, don't they?
They do, yeah, and we don't score. The Gaels don't score as many goals, John.
Yeah.
And conceded a goal against Cooley. Conceded a goal the last day in the last couple of minutes against the Martins, and then in the first game conceded 4 goals, 3 of those very early on. So, but I think the Gaels have become more formidable. Now, I would look at the Gaels. I think we have a lot of physical strength in that defence, a lot of more senior players in that defence. You look at the likes of Jamie Faulkner, Eamon Kenny, then you're looking as well at James Stewart playing at centre half back. There's a lot of power there and a lot of strength there, and the Blues are young, John.
Right.
And the young men up front, I think as well, if you can go man to man in Brannigan, you do a lot of damage. Maybe push up on Colin Judge, make him defend. You can do a lot of damage there. And I think defensively, we are going to be difficult to break down, John, because we haven't been conceded a huge amount, certainly not in the last couple of games. I think it was 1-6 against the O'Malley's the first day, was 11 points the second day, and late, going into the last 10 minutes against the Martins, points. It was 6 points we conceded. So, I think we ended up conceding 111. So we're not conceding an awful lot, John. And I think it's important tomorrow that we do that. And what's also important, I feel, is that if we can get ahead, we can play this game on our own terms.
Right.
I think that's very, very important as well. I wouldn't like to see us chasing the game from too early on, because I think the Blues they can defend as well in numbers, and they'll try and hit you on the break. So you look at the first maybe 15 minutes being very tactical, possibly been very nervy. Players just feeling their way into the game and not trying not to make mistakes and give the opposition the upper hand. But I think, ultimately, I really do think, John, it depends on who performs for the full 60. I think that's vital from the point of view of both teams, particularly the Gaels.
So that's why I'm going to ask you the question. Will the Joe World Cup be coming over Hill Street Bridge tomorrow night?
Funny, you said that last week, John, and it really did strike a chord with me, because, you asked me how important is your club, and your club is your identity. It's part of who you are. It's part of your soul, John, because you grow up at your club and you stay with your club. And I've been far afield, but my club has always been beside me in my heart.
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to see that cup come over the bridge tomorrow, John. It would mean an awful lot.
Yeah, it mean an awful lot that people that have, as we said last week here, Richie, put the foundation in, Shawnee Coleman's, the Tony Coleman's, the Regans, you can go back and you'd only leave people out, but they are people that I'm sure, some of them are not around, but some of them are, Bertie Dullahan, to see this game tomorrow, and hopefully, get the rewards for the foundation they put into the Gaels club.
They did a lot more than put the foundations in. They kept the club on its feet for many years.
Yeah, yeah.
And nothing would give me more pleasure maybe than to see and to hear that the likes of Derek Quilly were able to take the cup out of the dressing room tomorrow and hand it to the likes of Shawnee Coleman, Tony Coleman, Dick O'Callaghan, as you say, at the risk of leaving people out.
Yeah.
Callahan, and especially maybe Joe Carroll.
Well, I was parked outside of Tony's house last night in Oriel Park, and there he has the bunting and the big flags hanging out the windows, So he never lost it, Shawnee, And Shawnee was a great player himself, wasn't he?
Yeah, Shawnee played the Gaels in 1952, but Shawnee managed teams for years and years afterwards. You're looking, Shawnee managed a minor winning championship team.
Yeah.
1962. And I remember I wasn't much of a footballer in my time, but I enjoyed playing it. And Shawnee was a manager at one stage, and you always wanted to play football for him. But I think it was just very, very special, John. If and I realise this is a kind of a one-sided preview, but it would be very special if we were able to take that cup over Hill Street Bridge tomorrow. Same as the O'Mahony's bringing it down into the Key last year. It'll be just the same.
It would be great, yeah. And there's no reason why they shouldn't, Richie. It's an open enough. The Gaels will take a lot from the feed at the O'Mahony's. I'm sure they're looking at the Blues. Such a bad start. There was weaknesses there somewhere, or they're still there, And the Blues will be looking well. The Gaels flatter to deceive at times. It's an interesting mix, isn't it?
I feel myself, John, I've said it for 3 or 4 years that this team and a lot of the players in this team have the talent to win the championship. And I'm speaking from experience because I worked with 4 teams that won championships. Teams that won 4 championships. And I genuinely believe that these players have the ability, and I think it's fairly clear to see that they have the stuff to win it as well. The management team have done a fantastic job this year. They've organised them into a very, very formidable unit. Physically, I think we're very powerful. I think mentally at this stage too, look at the 3 tight games that we won in the championship. Mentally, we have what it takes, and I would be optimistic. I certainly wouldn't disrespect the Blues. As I said, been involved in 7 championship matches against them. Only lost 1. That's because we were with great teams, John. But I genuinely do believe that this team has the physical ability and the playing ability and the mental ability to go ahead and get that job done tomorrow.
Well, I couldn't have said it any better myself, Richie. So I hope all your hopes and your dreams come true, and with the help of God, the Gaels will come across that Hill Street Bridge with the Joe World Cup tomorrow night. Thanks for your input, Richie. We're under pressure for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for taking the call, and hopefully next week we'll be talking about the Gaels' victory.
Yeah. Can I just say one thing?
Yes, indeed.
Just from the bottom of my heart here, John, I want to wish the players, the management team, all the very best tomorrow, because it's very hard to put into words just what it would mean to all of us in the Gaels.
Yeah.
Joe Ward came over that bridge tomorrow.
Yeah, it's an emotional time too, isn't it? Like, you know, you think about the past, and you want to see the past be rewritten again by these young guys that's hopefully going to take the mantle on for the girls. And we all wish them the best of luck, Richie. And as I said, hopefully we'll see them coming across Hill Street Bridge tomorrow night with the cup.
And especially for the more senior men in the club, they won't thank me for saying that, but the likes of Joe and the likes of Shawnee and the likes of Tony, all of those men who've been Gaels men all their lives.
Right, Richie, thanks very much for taking the call. God bless you, and enjoy the game tomorrow.
Thank you, John. I will. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.
Good luck. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And of course I want to remind you that tomorrow the Gaels play the Blues as usual in Drogheda in the final of the Joe Ward Cup. The throw-in is at 3:30. Dermot Woods, Damien Shields and Paddy Clark will be on commentary here on Dundalk FM. So tune in for that, and there's no interruption. It'll be straight through, no ads, straight through, and you'll know what's happening. And that's all the sport I have for you today. My thanks to my soccer panel, Gussie, Roy and Nicky, to Robbie Rafferty and to Richie Ford, and Jerry Curtis, who came in and told us about that poker classic. To the people that got in touch with the show, we appreciate every time we get anything to say about the show, whether it be good, bad, indifferent. We enjoy your remarks. And of course, to Jason on sound here, without him we wouldn't be able to go on the air. Next Friday night, of course, Dundalk play Bowes in Oriel Park with a kick-off of 7:45. Join us here on Dundalk FM for live coverage of the game starting at 7:30. So till then, from me, John Murphy, thank you very much for listening. Have a nice weekend and enjoy your sport.